This is a brief demonstration on how to navigate easily when using the real alternative refrigerant leakage log and calculator software program for carbon emissions. This video will show you how to use the software program to record refrigerant use and report on environmental impact. I'm going to show you how to input system and refrigerant use data, then how to alter some of the parameters, for example, to change the cost of refrigerant purchase, and finally how to look at the guidance notes for that accompanying the calculator. If it is the first time on your computer, the user guidance notes will appear first. Should you choose to read through these notes without going any further, please do so by scrolling up and down. Clicking on any of the buttons will prompt the message reminding you the fact that the macros are disabled. Enabling the macros will bring you to this page with the developer's details. Clicking on this Start button will bring you to the page with 3 options. Clicking on the first option, which is the menu to the site and system details, will bring you to another page with 2 options. By clicking the first option, which is the site details, will bring you to this page where you could put the details of the site. In this case, you can put, for instance, Crayford. Once that is filled in, you click on Next, which will bring you here. The calculator has got a maximum of 10 systems that we can input, but for demonstration purposes, I'm only going to show you one system. If you click on the system, this page will appear with 5 buttons. You can go through these buttons and put the required details, but you can also put the details listed here below through the first button. So by clicking on the description of the system, first, let's call this one a chiller, and the location of the chiller says on the roof. And assume that's the email of the site, and assume the rest of the details is okay, but we could change the refrigerant and assume in this case is R32. Once all the details have been input and you're satisfied, you click on Next. This will bring you on this page. You could see all the potential systems that could be included in your analysis are listed there, but it's only A which is highlighted because it's the one that you have put the data for. So all these data you see here are for system A. So by clicking on system details, it brings you to this very first one. If you click on the refrigerant additions, it would bring you to this. This is where you could input the details of the technician carrying out this work. So in this case, you could say is technician number 3 project. You could call it PAZ if you like. And then you could continue, fill all these ones in. Once you've finished, you could continue and fill in others like so. So these ones have been have been pre-filled in, so you can choose any of these ones and change it as it suits you. And so on. So you could navigate through all these ones and put all these details based on the site that you're working on. Once all that is done and you're satisfied, then you can click on the carbon emissions and cost, like so. Once you've done that, then it will bring you to this small page which asks you for the start date and end date of which you want to consider your analysis for. So in this case, start with that date and end with the last date, and then you could click on confirm the range or use all data. So in this case, I'm gonna click on that. So now the calculations have been done in the background, and these are the outputs. This is the table showing the quantity of refrigerant in kilograms that has been leaked out. And then here you have got comparable emissions. In this case, you can see the total direct carbon dioxide equivalent emissions resulting from the refrigerant losses for the 2.2 year period that we have considered would be equal to those traveling 2.8 million passenger kilometers in an airliner on a long haul. So, and all these are the figures that you'd be looking for in terms of the calculations. And you could do so through by navigating through all these other systems and filling in the data if you want, and then confirming, and then you have a graph like so. And when you go to that, you could see the comparison has actually changed. So all the time you do your calculations, it's always important to come to this cell and look for the comparable emissions. Okay, and once you've done that, you could go back to the refrigerant leakage log datasheet, and then you could choose for total refrigerant used for the site. This is the site that would, the page that would give you the summary of all the systems that you would have included in your calculation. So in this case, you see system number 1, which you have input the data, and you could see for system number 2, 3, and 4, you have got something there. That means there is something in there, although we haven't really considered putting them ourselves. Okay, and then you could go to data sheet. This allows you to change these refrigerants. So all these refrigerants could be changed. Yeah, in this case, for instance, you could change it to any refrigerant you want. Call it R134A, although there is one already being considered, and then you could change all these global warming potentials and the cost. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it as it was before. Okay, so once you've done that, then you could go back to where you were before, and at any point during doing this, if you are stuck and you need to go to the user guidance notes, you could click here, and this will bring you on the user guidance notes. And then on the left hand side, you have got a list of options that you could click on. For instance, if you clicked on how to start up and form menus, you click on here, it would take you straight to that particular option you have clicked on. And if you need to go back to that particular menu, you click on user guidance contents, it would take you back to here, and you could click on, say in this case, click on datasheet worksheet. It would bring you to that datasheet. And then if you need to go back to the same menu, you click on there and it would bring you back here. But then you can navigate through systems by clicking on any of these systems. So for instance, if I clicked on A, it would take me back to the system A where you input all the details. Okay, and then once you're satisfied and happy and you need a copy of the work that you've done, you could click on print and your work would be printed as this is set as a default, so would print as normally as would have selected the print button as normal. So once you've done that, you've got to remember to click on Save and Exit menu.